In this video, we will discuss the topic of the cell cycle, mitosis, and how the cell divides to make more cells every day in your body. So why is cell division important? 1, it allows the organisms to grow and develop by increasing the number of cells in the body. 2, it replaces old or worn out cells. And 3, it is how one-celled organisms like bacteria reproduce. The cell cycle is kind of like the life of a cell. All cells go through these stages in this picture right here. In other words, the cell cycle is the series of events that takes place from one cell division to the next. Interphase, as you can see in this picture right here, is the longest part of the cell cycle. So all of this is interphase. Cells spend most of their time in interphase. This is the phase where the cell grows and functions, where organelles duplicate, where DNA is copied and duplicated, and where the cell prepares for mitosis. Mitosis, this small section of the cell cycle, is simply the steps or phases that the cell takes to divide into two new identical cells with two identical nuclei. Nuclei, by the way, is the plural for nucleus. Cytokinesis is the final section of the cell cycle, and that's when the cytoplasm divides into two new cells. Here's the small section of cytokinesis. There are a few important terms to know before we talk about the 4 phases of mitosis. A chromosome is a structure in the nucleus that contains hereditary material. In this picture, this is one chromosome. A chromatid is simply duplicated chromosomes, like this picture here. A centromere, shown right here, or here, is what holds the chromatid pair together. And DNA is the genetic material of all organisms found in the chromosomes. All cells in your body, except for sex cells, have 46 chromosomes. 2 other terms that you'll need to be familiar with are centrioles and spindle fibers. Centrioles are microtubules, or thick protein tubes, that move toward opposite ends of the cell when mitosis is about to start. They are right here in the picture. These are centrioles. Spindle fibers come out of the centrioles and attach to the chromosomes during mitosis. So these little strands coming out of the centrioles are called spindle fibers. You can see they're attaching to the chromatid pair right here. There are 4 phases of mitosis. The first phase of mitosis is prophase. During prophase, the chromatid pairs are visible in the cell, and the spindle is beginning to form on the opposite sides of the cell. You can see the spindle starting to form right here, and it's starting to move to opposite ends. The nucleus is also starting to disappear. The second phase of mitosis is metaphase. During this phase, the chromatid pairs line up across the center of the cell like so. The centromere of each pair becomes attached to 2 spindle fibers, one from each side of the cell, as you can see here. So here's the spindle fibers coming out of the centrioles, and they're attaching to the centromere. Okay. And these are the chromatid pairs that are lined up in the center of the cell. The third phase of mitosis is anaphase. During anaphase, each centromere divides and the spindle fibers shorten. Each pair of chromatids separate, and the chromatids begin to move to opposite ends of the cell. The separated chromatid pairs are now called chromosomes. So you can see that one chromosome is going to one side, the other chromosome is going to the other. Remember, these chromosomes are the same exact thing. The final phase of mitosis is telophase. In the final phase, the spindle fibers start to disappear and the chromosomes start to uncoil, and 2 new nuclei form, as you can see here. So here's a nucleus forming, and here's a nucleus forming. You can see organelles are going to other sides of the cell as it's about to split. So after mitosis occurs, cytokinesis takes place as the cytoplasm separates and the cell divides into 2 new identical cells. The results of mitosis and cell division are the following. One is that mitosis produces two new nuclei that are identical to each other and the original nucleus. Two is that each new nucleus has the same exact number and type of chromosomes. Three, that every cell except for sex cells has a nucleus with a copy of the same 46 chromosomes. And the last note is that the original cell does not exist anymore as it has now been split into two new cells. That is it for today, so please write down any questions you have about mitosis on your paper to discuss for tomorrow.